about that?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
You like it?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Please let me have your attention. We have a very special guest, and we are grateful to welcome him. Okay, he is an author. I met him only last year, and in fact, it was a senior brush that that introduced me to his literature. And when I say his literature, as I said, he's a what? He's an author. Okay. And I have the book that I was first introduced to, not by our author, Mr. Ayeni, but by our senior bros. And this book is very interesting. It is called The History and Cultural Heritage of Owan People. So as I read the book, I haven't completed it, but as I read through the introductions and the first few chapters, and especially because Owan is a vast land with vast clans, many clans. And so when I got to our own clan, I just love the history, the present day, and what it means for us moving forward. So, without further ado, I want to welcome Mr. Austine Ayeni. Please, let's have him. Good afternoon to you all. Don't leave it? All right, all right. Okay, so the way I want to conduct this one is it's just a talk. It's a talk, it's an interview. There's some questions that are on my mind, and there are some questions that I expect, especially the JS up to senior secondary, to ask. You should be really curious to know many things that we did not cover, okay? So as I said, he's an author, and the first question I want to ask him is something that maybe everybody does not know, and maybe some do know, is your background. Where are you from, and you know what's your schooling and things like that. Just your background in general. Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes.
All right. My name is Austine Ayeni. I am from Iloje Okuje. So that means that I'm not a stranger, just like your big brother or an uncle, so to say. All right. I attended Iloje Primary School and, of course, Uleha Grammar School. So that means that I was born and bred here in Uleha. So it's not as if maybe I was born and brought up maybe over there in Lagos or even overseas, as some people may be perceiving. So I was born, brought up here. I had my primary school here. For you, you can verify the primary school right there. Uleha Grammar School. And then after my secondary school, of course, I proceeded to the University of Benin, where I read mass communication. And I must say here that it wasn't easy because I know that maybe you may be saying, okay, just from Uleha Grammar School down to University of Benin, it wasn't rosy for me, it wasn't easy for me. First of all, just to encourage you, for those of you who are maybe within this particular state now, you're thinking maybe people in Benin, they are better than us. People attending UPSS in Lagos and all of that, they are better. I can tell you for free that regardless of your location, regardless of where you are, you can be that person that you want to be today. All right, so from my growing days, like I said, okay, from talking about my SSC exam, it wasn't even once that I passed. I had to resit the exam again. It was on second occasion that I was able to make it. Then for JAM, I attempted JAM on 3 occasions. So that's to tell you that it was even when I was supposed to graduate from school, that I even started school. So most of my colleagues, they were already there, but God had His way, and I was really determined, and that was how I, of course, got into University of Benin, and then read the course that I really wanted to, of course, read, be a journalist, want to be heard on radio, want to be seen on television like this, engaging in serious. So it's not strange to me to engage in this panel of discussion. And by God's grace, I have been able to put together 12 books, and then I featured. I featured in several television and radio stations. As a matter of fact, for those of you who are conversant with independent, that's ITV radio, I used to be a sport presenter there as well as an analyst. So as far as journalism is concerned, radio, TV, and even writing generally, of course, I can say that God has really blessed me. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ayeni. My next question, that's very interesting background. My next question is this. What inspired you to write the type of books that you have written? From my knowledge, you have written English books as well as our indigenous, original cultural books. And let me just be honest, I have to confess, if I was introduced to your literature from the English perspective, I would have appreciated, but not as much as my introduction to your literature in the cultural perspective. So my main question is, what inspired you as a young man? Because young people, from what I've seen, do not have that interest to go deep into their culture. And I don't blame them because, things that are surrounding you are things that you take for granted. You understand? But where I'm from, where black people or African American people don't know their culture, is very priceless. And what inspired you, being a son of the soil, to embrace and go deep into something that is so priceless, yet overlooked?
All right, thank you very much. I know that's a question that many people have been asking me. That, as a matter of fact, when they see my books, particularly the one that have to do with culture, they do ask me, "This book is bigger than you." Yeah. Ordinarily, they expect that when they hear Austine Ayeni, they want to see the picture of an old man. They want to see the picture of somebody that, to some extent, is advanced in age. So when they get to say, "Are you the one that wrote this?" And they are wondering, and they do ask, what's actually the motivation? What is the spirit behind this? How are you able to? Do you normally go to people, ask, but how are you able to get in touch? Because when you talk about Omo is back, from this place down to Ibiaro, down to Ikao, down to Iki, down to Sobe, down to Waraka. So it's a huge work, And what actually motivated me is just my passion and my love for my culture. That has been the driving spirit. I do anything that has to do with my people, that has to do with my culture. I know there's this spirit in me, to do something, to promote or to project our culture. So that has been the driving force. And then reading books, great books, particularly the one by Ngugi Watiogo. Of course, is a Pan-Africanist who said that anybody who is not proud of his culture is not fit to live. You know what that means? That means that if you are not proud of your skin, if you are not proud of your identity, if you are not proud of your color, you are not even worthy, you are not even qualified to exist in the first instance. That's what it means. So that means that whether you are black, you are white, whether you are short or tall, as far as you just see yourself as human being, be proud of it. And I saw Owen as a great area that we need. There are so many things about our people that we need to expose to the entire universe. And that was what really drove that thought. And talking about my first book, yes, I was already in my 300 level in the University of Benin. And then for us, because we're in satellite campus, Ekawan campus, while others is usually, of course, they are captured in the Ubo campus, and that's where you have most of the faculties and departments. So they hardly remember those of us that are at Ekawan. So, but when I got to 300 level, and then when I was doing my IT at ITV, and then I just came across our National Association of Owen Students. And then I had the opportunity of attending their meeting. And with because when I got there that day, I was not really happy with the president and the ESCO because they neglected us for those of, because I want to identify with my people, because if you go to the Oma, of course you can see many of our people there, but Unive, you hardly see many of our people there. So I just this spirit of identity, I wanted to just have that, and I blamed them. But eventually we came together, and then I realized that whenever we have meetings of this nature, it's usually English, and it's not supposed to be so. And I was really motivated. And when we were planning for our cultural day, and that was 2017, I just felt I needed to just do something, at least a language that at least lets us have something that we can communicate with. And then that was what motivated me to start working on a research concerning our language and then history, because many of them, they don't even know, or they don't even know community and all of that. So that was what motivated me. And then I went into serious research. And along the line, I realized that most of our people, they don't even know their history, they don't even know their culture and even their language. And so this has have been the major push behind me, wanting to go the extra mile to make sure that our people get to know some of these things, most of these things that they don't know. And so it has been my passion. Everything revolves around my passion and my love for my culture.
Thank you very much. And for me, that answer, that response is you can't put a price on it. It's truly priceless. And we were sitting down in the palace the other day, and and one thing that I said as well is that anyone that does not know their culture is easily misled, very easily misled. And I did not know that this, and I think not only the inspiration and the drive and the spirit that's inside of you, but also I think you see that there's a big void, a huge void in our society. Our society is filled up to the brim of so many things, except the realest thing. That's the truth. And it has truly affected. And I did not know personally, before I moved back home 7 years ago, that Africa was even facing this problem. I was so consumed with the problems of African Americans and our own plight and struggles back there. And I think they too will be very surprised if they come to Africa and see that we don't even care, or that our culture is being forgotten. So my next question is, what are some of the, not only the challenges, but some of the consequences that you have, and this is before, I don't know if you brought your books with you. We should put your books up here so it can be uh, visualized. And yeah, so like some of the challenges and consequences of this void.
Okay. Oh, all right.
We'll get to that. And so what are some of the challenges in the economy that you see today, presently? And you can be honest, even with, with politics and everything. And if I may compound the question, what is because your culture is somehow a society that existed before government, before like the government structure of democracy, let's say, or democratic government. What is the clear, or what do you see versus the other, the one versus the other?
Thank you very much. Yes, the challenges are huge, I must confess. To be an author in the first instance, you know that you have to just work beyond normal person or normal individual, permit me to say. Let's take it from the point of research, because it's not just a literature book that you just sit down in the comfort of your home, you just and maybe through inspiration and you just start writing. It's not story for crying out loud. You're talking about story of people. You're talking about the lifestyle of people. That means that you have to go out there, engage with people, and all of that. So, a whole lot of challenges I've encountered, particularly when I started the research work. It wasn't easy for me to travel around the entire land of Owan. I told you that when you understand about Owan, it's you have to look at areas like Ibiaro down to Oswald, down to Ibi, down to Sobe. So it's a vast area. So a whole lot went into it. And then when it comes to engaging with people, it's not easy. First of all, when you meet maybe elderly people, there's this spirit of skepticism. They are always suspicious. What do you need our history for? So that's a strong challenge already. So what do you need our history for? Do you want to know our secrets? So you can see an angle to resolve for us. You have to find a way around it to sensitize them that no, there is need for us to project. So there's this resistance, this spirit of resistance among our people. Maybe because of my ignorance, they just feel that you don't need to write our history, you don't need to write our culture, you don't need to know anything about. So it's a huge challenge, and I encountered it during my research. In a particular scenario, when I got to Ikao, one of the towns in Owan East, as a matter of fact, the place they called me, it was just like a shrine. I was shocked. Thank God I wasn't actually working alone. I actually with my back mind, and I was like, please, we just need this. But they said no, we were not going to do that. And as a matter of fact, they even wanted to chase us away, but it was the secretary, at least the man was knowledgeable, and it was through him that we were able to get something out of the cow. The same thing applies to some other communities. And then when it comes to now harmonizing the what you have gotten, because people will tell you stories based on just to people that now, like the case of New Layer, people will tell you the overseas. I up to today still controversy. They'll tell you, okay, it was overseas started during the time of Ibajoma or Oku. Some will tell you from Omo-Bare and all of that. So it's a huge problem. So you want to hear from different people to get opinion and all of that. And that's just by the wayside. That's the real work. In terms of writing, so it's not easy. Even when others are sleeping, I'm on my table trying to put some things together. It's a whole lot of work. As a matter of fact, whenever I'm engaged in research, it's as though any other thing don't even exist at all. So that means that if you want to be a writer, you have to be focused, you have to be determined, and you have to do what we call, at least have this self discipline, put in place self-management and all of that. So, and then coming to the area of publication, because I just want to take it from that order. In my first publication, Um, I must tell you, it was very sacrificial because first, I just had in my innocent mind, when I made inquiry about the cost for 1,000 copy and then they gave me the price, I just calculated and then I said, okay, once I just visit all these politicians, maybe of course they will raise some sort of assistance for me because in the first instance, it wasn't even my first book, just three. I have to use 21, 3,000 naira. It's just something like this because the fewer the copies, the higher the price. But I was able to print a copy of this 3,000 naira. That's three, then 9,000 naira. Then in my innocent mind, I thought maybe during our cultural day then, that maybe I guess that will show up, maybe they will raise donation. Then from there, I can now pick up. But my sisters and brothers, none of them even mentioned if not to talk about donating. So then I have to zero my mind, say, okay, let me read some of these politicians. Then at least having show you something like this, you like, okay, this guy has put in something. Let's try and encourage him. But lo and behold, it was just disappointment galore. From one politician, even to the offices, because we had commission on them, and then I was going to visit them in the offices. They will keep on telling you stories, come today, come tomorrow, and all of that. And it was so disappointing, and I almost gave up. And at that point, I had to even use my school fees. And thank God we even had just one more strike. So I was using that. I said, okay, let me just put in something. And then eventually, Prof assisted me with something. And then it wasn't still enough, so I have to start borrowing. So when people here say, Austine is calling to borrow, what's happening with you? And all of that. So I had to borrow until I was able to make up. Even after then, and then you go to the level of patronage, because of this awareness level, people don't value books. Generally, that's a huge challenge, and it affects the patronage. You bring books to churches and so you see maybe 2 or 3, or that will say, okay, the people that price it, maybe like instead of 1,000, they'll tell you 300. Like, is this so? It's a whole lot of challenge, but it's just that determination, that focus, that determination. There has never is any book that are published without at least asking for, because to ask for assistance now is very difficult. You have to just follow to gather, but it's that determination, that passion, that love for my culture. I just believe that there are so many things about our culture that our people need to know. So I'm doing this because of our people. If I were to go for, let's say, financial gratification for money, I wouldn't even bother myself about Owan culture because it's just restricted to Owan. Of course, I would have just left to English language, and that's why I even have books like Standard English and even Impeccable English, which, of course, they are world standard. They are standard books that can go nationwide.
Everybody knows those books, right?
Yeah.
And even beyond. So that has been those areas highlighted are the challenges, and like I said, what has made us to remain in this business of writing and publication is passion and the love for my culture. Because if you remove these two things, I can tell you for free that you wouldn't even see me today. And I just came up with this set of books. They are 6 in number, and they are targeted to teach our people language, because that's the area that our people are lacking now. Now, if you ask our people now, maybe to tell you maybe part of their body, they will struggle. Maybe they will struggle. They just tell you, yes, head is little, head is small, neck is. But when you now go deeper, you go girl, etwell, and all of that. Of course, you know that we are part of it. So that's just the tribe.
Mr. Ayeni, the more you talk, the more I love you. I'm telling you. And because this struggle, not to say, when you hear about struggle in Nigeria, you know that it's everywhere. But when someone is struggling because of passion, you know, to do what's inside their spirit. That's a different something. Because their spirit might lead them in a direction that is not profitable, but they still do it. Not to say if he chooses the path of profit, he will still struggle, but to do what he's doing here, I can really empathize and completely relate. And it's funny that you mentioned the Uleha clan chapter in the Oan book with the authorship. And I love, because that in fact was one of the only chapters that you mentioned that is controversial. You know, I did not see every other clan or every other, kingdom was pretty much, just accurate information. But the way you began inside that one, it was just, well, this is controversial, but here's what we have gathered. And it's still very, very interesting. But I think for me, personally, there should be no question that I am for the continuation of the Crown Prince, the son of our King. And I just want to make that clear. There's no question for me. And that's for the Crown Prince, High Chief Ayeni Omo-Bare. Moving on. Let me call on. Okay, Favor, stand up. Yes? I know you speak our language. Say 270 in our language. No, nobody, Chief. Don't tell her. Do you know, by the way? Okay. Say, look at me. Look at us. Before I take the camera, I will put it on you now. Say 270. All right. I'm asking you to speak our language. At least say I don't know in our language. All right. Who knows 270? Raise your hand. Okay. So let's stick with favors. Miss Favor. Oh my. All right. All right, Mr. Ojo. Wait. We got a judge.
Is it in money or in counting numeral?
You see, I don't know. Can you answer that question? Was that in money? Okay, you're not just counting. So, please, can you talk to me about your English book?
Yes, thank you very much, sir. For the English book, I was motivated by the same factor, my love of English language. So, naturally, I'm a lover of English language. As a matter of fact, during my secondary school days, even though then I don't know what I was doing, in quotes, incorporating to at least what I have become now was then, people, my seniors then, they do bring letter, or this love letter. I have radio, I love you and all of that. And that was just, and I'm a lover of vocabulary. All right, so I love to acquire vocabulary. So this is just the motivation, and then along the line, at the level of the universities, university, I beg your pardon, I realized that people use English language wrongly. You know, they will say, okay, for instance, you hear somebody say, everybody should pay their money. Or maybe you hear people say, okay, pay the money, let us pay the money instrumentally, you know, and some of these wrong English language. So I just decided, okay, I need to correct some of these expressions. And that was what informed me to come up with this book, Standard English Made Easy. So, Standard English Made Easy is targeted, is aimed at improving the standard of English of the students and people generally. Alright, so that was the motivation. So I realized that if your English is sharp, if you have good command of English language, it will be very easy for you to write. And in a public like this, it's very easy for you to express yourself. Alright? And that's why, and that was what motivated me to come up with this book. And then, when I was going to schools and then to social gathering, I realized that there were complaints about people ability to write. Now, for instance, it's very common in the cities, in a gathering like you can see students speak very well, but ask them to write. It's a challenge. Even in the university, you can see a lady that can, in fact, super sweet English now when it comes to spoken English, but written English is a huge challenge. Down to the school, I've carried out empirical studies, and I realized that most of them, they don't know how to express themselves in writing. And that was what informed me to come up with impeccable English. Now, this impeccable English is not even my focus, but my focus is a compendium of English compositions. Alright, that's writing. So in this book, I just studied myriad of writing, like essay writing. They can ask you now, okay, your teacher can ask you, write a story about how you spend your holiday, about where you travel, maybe you travel to Ibadan, a day that you never forget, such stories, to put them down. The scripted story, they can ask you a marriage that you witnessed, come and write it down. So I realized that's an aspect. Then letter writing is a challenge too. If you put 200 students together and say, okay, write a letter to your local government chairman, requesting for provision of maybe basic amenities in your community. How do you go about that? Some don't even know the format of the letter writing. Some don't know what they are supposed to put first, how they are supposed to put together their body, and then maybe the conclusion. So it was a challenge. I decided, okay, I need to draft a letter. Then creative writing. For those of you that like writing stories, how are you able to put your story together? I probably put that in this. Then we come to communication skills and all of that. So I have to put together all these things to make sure that people, particularly the students, they now have good command of English language as represented by this one. That if you polish your spoken and written English. And then two, because when it comes to spoken English, idiomatic expression is key. Particularly when it comes to external exam, they will ask you, somebody, okay, Oshomole and Obaseki, they have a bone to grind. What does that statement or that sentence mean? So these are some of the things I can say, okay, the teacher, maybe the proprietor of the school, let's say, okay, we are 5 and 6. What do I mean by that? Alright, or we are dagger drum. These are expressions. So if you don't have good knowledge of English language, idiomatic expression, phrasal verb, it will be very difficult for you to. Then this one particularly is designed to improve your written English compositions. How to write different compositions and all of that. So as I said, the passion and the drive for people to know, to have good command of English language, know how to write different things like essays, letter writing, article writing, and all of that. Thank you very much.
Yes, and I thank you. And this is, in fact, for me personally, I think it's something that's very, very key because, and I always tell the students, and this is how I feel from my heart, that, our own dialects should never be forgotten. It should always be first and primary, and, because I know what it is for me to live without it. I feel like, many times I feel like a stranger in my own home, but something else feels like been here for many lifetimes, you know. But at the same time, the English language, without a shadow of a doubt, is for this currently, is the communication of the entire world. And it is only beneficial to anyone to know how to speak it properly. We have a mentorship program with mentors from around the world, and they all communicate in English. And most of these mentors for the SS, for the mentees, is English their first language? Anyone? Any mentee? Who is a mentee here? Okay, essay. Is English the first language of your mentor?
No.
It's not. You know, so this is the one that, and there's many African countries that speak English. In fact, South Africa, I think their official language is English. Liberia, their official language is English. But if you talk about their own personal broken pidgin, Creole, whatever you call it, their dialect English, you will not understand it. It will be even different. You will capture some words, you know, but you won't understand it. And those are things that are very important. I want to ask Madame Agatha, our English teacher, and by the way, we also have Mr. Ferdinand. He was too busy this term, but he, in fact, was the one that has verified and approved this book for our secondary class, as well as JS in some aspects, in the JS3 rather. So our current teacher now is Madame Agatha, and I just want to ask you, how has the use of the book, how has it been so far?
Welcome you once again. So, I've been teaching English language, let me say, as far as I can remember, for more than 10 years now. And you know, most of the textbooks that are recommended for English language, it's not simplified like the way you did in your own book. You know, I came across this book not up to a month ago when I started partnering with them, the Teachers Academy for FACET. And so, this book, I want to advise it, or I want to recommend it, not just for the students alone, but also for teachers. Because in most cases, I have seen where even adults who are teachers, they make common errors in English language. There's this problem of expression. There's this problem of expression in English language. Most of them, not that they don't know what they want to say, but the problem they have is how to express it in English language. Even me myself, when I started going through the book, although I have not have ample time to go through the book because I'm only opportune to use the book when I'm in school. I was even telling the proprietor this morning when I came that I would like to have a personal copy because I've discovered some errors that even I myself do make, even as the English teacher. And it is very good. That book is recommended for both students and teachers because English language is made simplified in the simplest of its form in that book. Even when I started using it to teach the SS2 and 3 classes, even today I was complimenting them in their class because I saw, you know, I told the proprietor this morning when he was talking about the assessment they were going to have tomorrow. I told him that from what I've observed, the students, they are ready for the assessment, and it's all because of this textbook that we started using.
That's a good start. So we'll start with the Q&A because we don't have much time. In fact, the time has expired, but we will finish up very shortly. So, any questions from our students and pupils? But we have a question from SS1, Miss Petra. Let's give her the microphone. Hello.
Okay, you want to clap for Miss Petra? All right.
My name is Petra, always I'm SS1. I want to ask you a question on the number. Our title asks us what is 270, and I don't know. So what is 270 in numbers?
Okay. She wants to know not in the currency, but in the numeral. That's the only number you want to learn, right? Okay.
All right. Thank you very, very much. And it's interesting to do that. Our people are now showing that enthusiasm. Do you have my book on English language study?
No.
Okay, you don't have it. Do you have any of these books?
No, sir.
All right. So I would recommend this particular book to you because we will have it from 1 to 1,000. All right, from 1 to 1,000. That's all Eva to Egben, which is 1,000. So now, back to your question. Is it 270 or 270?
270. 270.
Okay, that is a boy is 200. Ikbegi, a boy. Àmì ọ̀lọ́ àbí igbó ìgbéyìí igbó ìgbé. Ọ̀rá ga bẹ́ẹ̀ wà bí ọ̀rẹ́ mi tó nà. No sir, sorry, I'm so you all right. So that's the more reason. Hello. Now can we have one house? So that was the more reason why I was motivated to come up with this set of books. They are 6 in number, and I have to use a teaching style in writing this book. Now, for instance, now like book 1 now, I have to start from the basis, or Eva to Uwe, which is 20, and then the exercise. Then from there, book 2, from Uwe, which is 20 to 250. Sorry, to 50 rather. And then from there to 100, like 200. So once we're more elevina elehana, you can be rest assured that all these figures like when we're gonna, it will become very easy for you to see and for you to read. So for your via call. Be a type on a yellow line, yes, so much of a very in.
Yeah, thank you very much. Any other questions from our students? Okay, all right. Promising.
That's no, sir. My name is Igwani Gemavelos SA. I'm in JSS1. I want to ask you how they used to say 100 in OPJ. 100.
100.
Ako Benyagweta, Igbo in here is 100. But when I go to Jam, when I say go 100 naira. Igbo, okay. Igbo by we then or I we in numera or we Igbo in here. All right. Time is web time. Good. But when we are spelling, no, Igbo in here. So only when I know her.
All right. And one thing I noticed with the numbers when I was on that chapter is I noticed that if you know how to say the numbers, it kind of helps you in mathematics as well. You know, because the numbers don't really have a name that changes. It just has adding, 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 adding. And if you know how to add. Any other questions? Okay, Petra again, quickly.
What is puppy love in idioms?
Yeah? Who's that?
Idioms. What is puppy love?
Okay, popular. Popular, wow. English language is very vast, it's very wide, and that's why nobody can claim monopoly of knowledge. You know what that means? Nobody knows it all. Like this popular now, I think this should be the first time I'm getting to hear about it. Sorry. I don't know if anybody knows.
Okay, yes. All right. The question is in idioms, you know, that's you know, type of speeches or figure of speech is okay, there's the proper way to say that. But puppy love is basically your first love or teenage love. Love that is it seems to be maybe you can't live without it. You know, if they break your heart, it's the end of the world. But we know that it's a phase, and you know, it's just your.
So some of them are not there. Um, this happens to be the revised edition of this book, Our History and Cultural Heritage. This is the revised edition, published in 2020. And the first edition was published in 2017, after which I came up with a book on Opuje history and the history of Opuje and cultural foundation. And then after which I came up with Ileha history rather, and language studies. And subsequently, I delved into English language and I came up with standard English made easy. And then I went back again after deep research to, of course, publish this particular one. And then after this one, I, of course, went on to publish impeccable English. And then after which, I came up with my latest set of books, which I entitled the Urban Language Studies, and they are in series 6 from book 1 to book 6. And this set of books teaches thorough, that's the thoroughness of our language, you know, from all, you know, to ABD Legasha, to the point of how you can even translate letter writing into our native dialect. That's the highest I can see. Even story telling like all this Itan of Bizago. Pase honige. Pase honige abi. Translation or refema. Then Itan doesn't. Refema ina seriya. Even Bagwe Begana for instance. Message just for instance. And bona mine. Egbe Wesemati. Elo ha egbe access to refema soto. Egbe la set up Jimmy. Egbe la set up for me. Now, ma set up Begana na bona. Kagolo ha na bona. Obia bogwa, right? And when we the translation ma bona. Igbe sebion. And they know how Igbe sebion. Ona na bona. Adegogo is walking. Now, while translating of a film ma bona. Adegogo obia. Kagolo na bona. Udugba is eating. Udugba oiba, right? And then while Biona na bona. Okaka and Oiman are frying gari. Now, translating of a film. Okay. The students are writing. What translating us? So, in a way, any other than ever away, and all of that.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So, from here again, you say, yeah, you let do for language, otherwise, you know, boom. One who wears Zulu Fema Soto. Ebela fellow being me, Ebela fellow boy me, Emi away or reckoning of it. People back, everyone said that A for apple, B for ball, C for cup, D for dog. I will more Fema Bona. Wamiona, Wemioma, like for instance, Nakana Bona. A, which is ABD, A for Akon, B for Bobodi, G for Uchete, D for Udo, A for Ahen, F for Ebubu, F for Ofe, G for Agag, B for Agbo, H for Eho, E for Isi, J for Ojo, A for Ikeke, E for Ekpa. You just still let this Z, which is Azuzu. They were writing a part of the body like, okay, hair is what? Hair is what? Head is what? Head, now head. Alright, forehead. Forehead. Okay, ear. Nose. Eyes. Teeth. Mouth. Tongue. Neck. Shoulder. Chest. Stomach. Liver. Armpit. Buttock. So you don't let the ego girl and it 12. Now, I don't must be ego girl. Your body was with it. Now, if your dad ego girl be a 12, other now we ego girl. Other now we a 12. My bag ego girl me boo. Bag go me boo. Eyebrow, right? Then a 12 uncle. So my ego, Baba was the one.
What about knee? Knee. Is that knee? What about knee? Okay. What about toes? The toes. Fingers. Is this the same thing or different? They got it? All right. All right. Clap for yourself. And you know why I say clap for yourself? It's not for no reason. Because don't you know many people that speak our language that perhaps don't know those body parts?
I'm so sure.
Okay.
Wrist. What's wrist? Say I'm going to get it. So any other like Eva, my son, you happy. My happy. My Eva go be. My son, you get it. My Eva go be. Okay, my Eva try one. Oh, my Eva go rule out Fema. So my Eva go radio Fema. Television go. Bahata Oti Cinema, a book I got in English. So when we see a movie, so be Lego. Apoturi. So give out a review. My bag will never go. Okay, so you know, all bomb with baggy. You know, we have your bag where ever would you a king of the
Wow. I'm telling you, if I had money, I will hire you for like 500,000 to teach me, and I know I will get it. I know I will get it. I'm serious. I'm even learning now. So the one thing I want to know now is how can someone get in touch with you? You know, many people that will be seeing this, they're aware of Timdel's Academy, you know, but how would they, you know, come to you? Or if they want to get a book from you, you know, we will soon have all of these books very soon here at this school. But anyone that is outside or, I'm sure you have your own base, but for our base and your base to marry, how can they do that?
Okay, yes, you can contact me via this number, 070
070
611
611
99 662.
662.
Let me take it again, 070
070
611
611
99
99
662.
662.
And then you can also reach me via email. That's ayeniaustin@gmail.com. Ayeni Austin, no separation. Ayeni, that's Ayeni. Then Austin, Austine. Then at Gmail. Remember I said the at gmail.com. And then my Facebook page is just Austine Ayeni. Austine Ayeni, that's my Facebook, I beg your pardon, Facebook page.
Okay, so he gave you his personal number. He gave you his Gmail, which is his email, which is Austin or Ayeni Austin. Okay, Ayeni. Everybody knows Ayeni, Ayeni, right? And then Austin is Austine. Okay, and at Gmail, the @gmail.com. All right, that's if you want to send a message and communicate on there. Then the last one he gave you was his Facebook. Facebook, go to your Facebook page or app, and you will just type the name Austine Ayeni. Correct, and you will see our brother here. And what's the last thing? And I just want to have a closing remark and talk to anyone that's listening outside of here. And, Mr. Ayeni, our brother here that is very passionate and contributing so much to the society, we have to work together. And sometimes, he hasn't just made it yet, Abi. Have you made it? He hasn't just made it yet. He's still climbing. And the key thing about one that has not made it is that it's not over. He has to continue to struggle. So our support, no matter how little, goes a long way. He mentioned Prof. Omo-Bare, that supported you. And he's been a great asset to our community as well, of course. So, but after that, or outside of that, you've been on your own. You understand? I know, I will tell you the truth. When he's come to me, I did not do anything but buy a few books, right? Let's talk the truth now, because of our situation. But this is something that I know I can do, is to do as much as I can on the platform that we have. So please, anyone listening, he's a great guy. He's, and he's bringing a lot to our community. So if you're from here and you don't live here, if you want to do something great, support Mr. Ayeni in his endeavors. Thank you very much. Is there any other thing you want to add?
Just my parting shots. I want to thank you very much, sir, for this special invitation. I must say that I'm really privileged, to sit here and address these wonderful people. And I know that I made this promise more than 9 months ago, and then it's not really been easy. I've not been able, but I thank God that I was supposed to even make it yesterday, but I couldn't. But eventually, have been able to make it. I really appreciate your understanding. And to you all, I want to say thank you very much for having me, and I want to believe that you have been inspired from what has been said today, particularly from my story. Then to particularly the students, like I said, if anybody is telling you that where you are, you cannot make it, the person is deceiving you. I have told you about my storyline. I was born and brought up here in Iloji. That's Iloji right there. And as a matter of fact, during my growing days, I do come to the maybe once or twice in a year because my mom is from Uzeba. So whenever they are doing age group, that's when you usually bring us to Uzeba. So this exposure wasn't there, but it was just those bushing area, attending Logic Primary School, then to Ileha Grammar School and all of that. So you can just imagine the setting. So I didn't even have this kind of exposure that you guys are having today, that, okay, you are only in the semi-urban area where you get people that are exposed and all of that. So it was really a tough one for me, but it was through determination, because I was determined, and you have to work on do a whole lot of personal development. So even if they are telling you now, okay, even if they bring the best teacher in the world, they surround you with great mentors to mentor you, if you don't work on yourself, there is nothing that, of course, we have like this. My successes in English language, because of personal development, I just choose to survive. I say, okay, I need to know English. Those people that have good knowledge of English language don't have two heads. So I had to sit down and then study hard. When I was to go for university after my SSE, as a matter of fact, when I brought my JAM form to them after the Bahrain for enrollment, they advised me that don't even bother to fill in Universe because you are not good enough. So you can see how discouraging such statements would be, that I wasn't good enough. So because of that, my first JAM, instead of Uniben, I had to settle for a format. And despite the fact that I even met up with the cut-off man, they told me that no, you can't be giving. So the struggle has been on, the passion. Be determined. Don't allow your parents or anybody around you to discourage, to say you are not good enough, you can't read this. Just choose to, like, okay, I want to add value, I can do this thing. Just have that determination. So if I could have that determination to struggle for literature, and then from here, a village boy now going to all the way to Uniben, not just to pick up any course, but for mass communication is one of the hottest courses in Uniben. And when I was going, this is just the storyline. I don't have anybody there. I don't have maybe any godfather that will say, okay, just score any score, then they will just bring you in. As a matter of fact, my coach tell me, if I tell you the score and how, as a matter of fact, the very day that they released the first batch, that was when my name came out. And as God will have it, I even had two admissions, one at Uniben and the other one at Omo-Bare. And this was the admission that I suffered for 3 good years. And then, as a matter of fact, when I was even in Akure between those 3 years, because I was now lecturing computer. So I was lecturing graduates and even undergraduates, and I have not even started. So it was like, what is this guy doing? But through that struggle, that determination, I was able to record such successes in my academics, and then which have now translated into numerous books, as you can see here, and even in my career. I told you, I've worked in radio and TV stations, and that's why maybe I'm good to speak to you now, because I've had this series of sections. And then for newspaper publication too, I have done that, and then in this publication. So be determined. Don't allow anybody to tell you are a village boy, you cannot do it. Maybe you have a dream of reading medicine, and then you are not good enough. Through personal development, through determination, through self-management. Now, that's self-control is very key, particularly to our ladies and then to our young guys, as you can see here. Now, let me tell you for free, just 2 minutes, for free. Now, during our secondary school days, yes, I had colleagues then who were just doing this illegal boyfriend and girlfriend. But today, now, I can tell you that where they are, I don't really want to just use any words on them, disparaging words on them, but I can tell you that they are far behind. So if you are focused as a lady, I can tell you, not all these guys that you are seeing around, not all these guys that you are seeing, you see better. And for guys too, they'll tell you that there's this language they do use in our local part. They say, "Igula me be right?" But Uhadi is best when I mean clean. And you get to engage them. But by the time we over and all of that, then the boys must aspire to that height. So be focused, be determined, and have self-control. Thank you very much.
So, are we proud of him? Be proud of him. Look up to, here's a hero that you have. Your heroes don't always have to be from outside places. Or he's a hero because he has a shiny this or shiny that. You know, your teacher can be your hero. Your mentor can be your hero. You know? So, that's very important. I thank you very, very much. God bless you. And, may all the dreams, that your spirit desires come true. Thank you so much. All right. Okay, so